Hey guys, this is the first lesson of Module 5, and it's the start of Unit 2. This lesson is called Understand the Concept and Language of Ratios. So, if you want to do this in your book instead, this will follow along in your book. You might just have to write a little bit more. You can find this on page 140, and it continues on to page 141. If you want to do it online, make sure you're pulling it up in your online math book. So we got two kittens right here. So this Tyree's cat has a litter of black and orange kittens. The tape diagram, which is this right here, shows the number of each color kitten in the litter, with each section represent one kitten. What are different ways that Tyree can compare the numbers of kittens? So he has 1, 2, 3, 4 black kittens and 1, 2, 2 orange kittens. So how many orange kittens are there? How many black kittens are there? How can you express the comparison between the number of orange kittens and the number of black kittens? So let's break this down slightly. There are how many orange kittens? We said there's 2. How many black kittens? We said there's 4. So for each orange kitten, there are 2 black kittens. Now, to get that, I'm going to bring my work paper up here. Okay, so I'm going to write this as a fraction. So there said there are 2 kittens and 4 black kittens. For each orange kitten, there are blank black kittens. So there are 2 orange, 4 black. If you look at that, this is one way we can write a ratio. And then we're going to simplify, since we can simplify that, we're going to simplify it by 2. And we get 1/2. So remember, orange was on top, black was on bottom. So 1 orange kitten to 2 black kittens. And that's how you get the answer. If you don't know how to do it yet, don't freak out. We're about to get it done down here. We're about to do some more problems. So how does the number of orange kittens compare to the total number of kittens? So if we have right here, we have 2 orange, 4 black. If I add those together, I get 6 total kittens. And it says how many orange kittens compare the total. So we had 2 orange kittens. So for every 2 orange kittens, there are 6 total kittens. I know that it's 2 because we wrote 2 right here because there was 2 orange kittens showing up right there. Okay, let's look at C. How does the number of black kittens compare to the total number of kittens in the litter? So remember, black is right here. There's 4 black kittens and 6 total. So for every 4 black kittens, there are 6 total. Now, if you're choosing to do this in the book, yes, you do have to write that whole entire thing out right here. You're writing for every 4 black kittens, there are 6 total kittens. Okay, down here, says suppose each section of the tape diagram represents 2 kittens rather than 1. So will that change the comparisons in part A? So instead of 1, 2, 3, 4 black kittens, we have 2, 4, 6, 8 black kittens. So I'm just going to go like this. So now we have 8 black kittens. And we have 2, 4 orange ones. So we have 4 orange. That is a total of 12. So now there are blank orange kittens. If we look right over here, we said there are 4 orange kittens. And we said there are 8 black kittens. I'm getting that from right here. This means there are still blank black kittens for each orange kitten. So there's still 2 black kittens for each orange one. Because if I take, they said orange first, so if we put the 4 over 8, if I simplify that down, I get 1/2. Most of you can look at 4/8 and get 1/2 off the bat. So when we're doing ratios and rates, they want us to simplify things down. Whatever they ask for first comes first. So over here, it asks for orange first. That's why the orange kittens are going on the top. Now let's look at this last section. Okay, suppose each section of the tape diagram represents 2 kittens rather than 1 kitten. Well, we just did that, sorry. Will that change the comparisons in part B? So in part B, we said for every 2 orange kittens, there are 6 total kittens. So there are 4 orange kittens in a litter and in a litter of 12. Because if we come over here, we have that information. We have 4 orange, 12 total. This means there are still 6 total kittens for every 2 orange kittens. So if each section of the tape diagram represented 2 kittens, there would be 4 orange kittens and 12 total kittens. Okay, I'm going to go over to number 2. But before we start on number 2, we have a little bit of stuff to talk about. First is vocabulary. Our vocabulary word is ratio. A ratio is a comparison of 2 quantities by division. So you can have it set up 3 ways. Now this looks a little confusing right here, but this is the way that you can write a ratio. You can write 5 to 4. The 5 and the 4 are just numbers that you can put in. Any numbers can go there. So you can write it with a 2 in between. You can write it with a colon in between, or you can write it as a fraction. And they're going to be making you write it as all of them through here. So a ratio can compare a part to the whole, or a whole to a part. The quantities in a ratio are sometimes called terms. Let's look at 2. Erin is making a quilt for a craft fair. The quilt is made with 4 different fabric colors as shown in the picture. So we have green, blue, red, and white. Explore the tape diagram to compare the numbers of blue squares and white squares. So 1 says there are 8 squares that are either blue or white. So we have 8 total. 2 says there are 3 blue squares. And 3 says there are 5 white squares. So if you look up here, there's 1, 2, 3 blue, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white. Together, that is 8 total. So which of these expressions correctly describe the ratio of blue squares to white squares? So whatever they're asking for first goes first. So they ask blue first. There are 3 blue squares. There are 5 white squares. So the fraction would be 3 over 5. Now you're going to come down and find the one with the 2. So 3, 2, 5. And then we have 3 colon 5. Those are the 3 ways that you can write a ratio. So for every 3 blue squares, there are 5 white squares. If the pattern shown in the quilt were repeated, this ratio remained the same. That means it could just simplify down to 3/5. So select the statements about the quilt that are true. The ratio of blue squares to total squares is 3 to 15. So they're asking total, so let's count them all up. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So they ask for first, we have several that we can choose from here. So the ratio of blue squares to total squares is 3 to 15 because it asks blue squares to total. So blue is first. There's 3 blue. There's 15 total. The ratio of total squares to red squares is 11 to 4. That is incorrect because remember the total amount is 15. Okay, the next one, let's see. There are 3 total squares for every white square. Let's count how many white squares we have. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So total squares are 15. So 15 total goes on top. Then it says 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 white squares. So what we need to do is we need to simplify this to see if it's right. I'm going to simplify by 5, and I get 15 divided by 5 is 3. 5 divided by 5 is 1, not 25. We're not multiplying. So for every 3 total squares, there are 3 total squares for every 1 white square. I would say that's right. There are 4 total squares for every green square. So remember, we had 15 total. Green squares, we have 3. So that can't, let's see if we simplify it down, what we get. We get 5 and 1. So it's not 4 total squares, it'd be 5 total squares because it says 5. The ratio of total squares to white squares is 15 to 5. I would say that one is right too. I know that one's right because we did that right here already. So you just have to go through them each one step by step before you can figure out if they're true or not. Sometimes you'll have to simplify it down like we did right here. Sometimes it will straightforward tell you like it did right here. Let's look at D. For every small green square, there are 2 large green squares. Does this mean that 1 out of every 2 green squares is small? So there are a total of blank green squares. So if I look up here, we have 3 green squares. There's a total of 3 green squares. And 1 green square is small. This means 1 out of every 3 green squares is small because there are 3 total. What they did here, they said they did 1 out of 2. It's 1 out of 3 because there's 3 total squares. So that is our build understanding for Module 5, Lesson 1. In the next video, we're going to do check understanding, and you can find that on page 141.